Maybe the caller has an answer. Hello, caller.
I don't have an answer to that.
Oh.
I'm so sorry.
Oh,
I do, however.
I thought you had an answer, sister.
I do, however. I agree with a lot of what you're saying, of course. And, in fact, I was studying or, I took a training recently where they were bringing some of this information to light. But I still think, for example, there's a you. And you somehow did not buy into that to the extent that you chose to make certain decisions in your life.
Right.
And if we teach people independent thinking and not send children to school just to be taught, but to teach them how to learn. Because when you go to school to be taught, you only hear what the teacher says and try to get a grade. But if we teach children, if the parents learn and teach children at home and help, remember, even when we were little, well, when I was a little kid, you were not born, but on some of the shows that we looked at, and they didn't really make us feel bad because, we didn't have a big house like Leave It to Beaver and all that stuff. Right. I never felt bad, and in fact, I remember going off to school and having a girl in Appalachia saying, well, you guys talk so much about looking at TV and seeing fancy stuff that you can't have, but we didn't have a TV to look at anything. And that's poverty. We couldn't eat. We didn't have shoes. You're talking about what kind of tennis shoes somebody can have. We didn't have shoes. And so some of that kind of bitterness, it was the bitterness with some of the rural and some of the other people not of color,
right?
No matter what their lineage was, the perception was that black people were complaining about stuff, and if they were really poor, it would be a different scenario. But anyway, I really think that, when we do the blame, there are, professional situations in which, yes, I have to go along and, well, it's the system. But the system does not make somebody go out and shoot things up on a holiday. And they did not, and it was not because they were hungry or poor. And, it was because somebody wanted to show.
But it creates the pressures. It creates the pressures.
Pardon?
It creates the pressures.
It creates what?
The pressures that drive people insane.
Man, there are a lot of people who are in difficult situations, but they make choices. And I also do, however, think that the toxic music that's on not on your station, but I even hear in my own house because it's so loud. The neighbors say it's so loud that it's in my house. And it irritates me. When I'm listening to all this and people are hearing that in their ear, then whether they are actually in those negative situations or not, they see themselves in them. They hear themselves in them. And they create pressures, the pressures of life where people are shooting each other, worrying about this and worrying about that. That does not have to be your narrative. But if you hear it all the time and those nasty vibes get in your brain and in your heart, then it's not that good.
Well, let me ask you this, right?
And it even, they've proven that it rewires our DNA and rewires our brains and all that stuff.
Let me ask you this. Who are 80% of the people who buy rap music?
Us just?
Non-black people.
Oh, is that right?
Right.
Well, see,
80% of hip-hop's audience.
I did not know that.
80% of hip-hop is non-black.
Let me say this, though. You're speaking of who buys it, but let's look at who listens to it on the radio and otherwise. Everybody doesn't always spend money to get the sound.
Okay. So, you don't think they listen to it you don't think white people listen to it on the radio too? I'm
sure they do. But I'm sure that I believe that we probably listen to it more than they do although
What are we
somebody
basing
else
that
might
on?
pay.
That's not what the numbers say. The numbers say that white people, non-black people, put it like this, right? Jay-Z's a superstar in Canada. Jay-Z's a superstar in France. He's a superstar in England. He's a superstar in Sweden. He's a superstar everywhere in the world. And most American rappers, American hip-hop is the biggest, most influential genre of music on the planet. So why can Canadians listen to the same music that we have, and English people and French people and German people and everything else, but they don't have the situation that we have in our society?
Well, I would think, and I'm probably, wrong on this, but it seems to me that just because somebody has money to go to, when they go on tour, is how the people make money and become so famous. And when they, their music is purchased, that's true. But just because they purchase it doesn't mean they have it in their ears all the time. Just because they would spend good money to go somewhere to see something or experience it doesn't mean that that's the experience that they normally keep in their ears.
So you think that hip-hop is the biggest genre of music in the world because we're the only people listening to it?
I didn't know. Don't jump to that conclusion. I didn't say only, but more of us than them, and we do it more often.
What are we basing that on? How do we again, white people love hip-hop. You go to a hip-hop concert, there will be more white people than black people. If you look at record sales, there will be more white people than black people.
Okay, but that doesn't mean that they're listening to it all the time.
Why would they go to a concert of somebody they don't listen to?
Wait a minute, wait. Do you think their mamas and daddies are sitting in their houses listening to it blown all over their neighborhood?
People have headphones. They have headphones. Like I listen to music on headphones personally. That was my personal thing when I was growing up, listening to music on the headphones. But I don't think
it has permeated society at the same level. I just don't think so. But that's just my personal opinion.
No. I mean, I feel you, but I'm saying a lot of people say that, but there's no statistical evidence to say that. Like I said, the statistical evidence says the exact opposite. And like I said, hip hop in countries where there are no black people and there's no gun crime, buy hip hop and listen to hip hop as much as anybody. You can, look at the people who worship Tupac and look at the people who worship Biggie Small.
And even the perception that it's ours. How many non-black Americans are the stars of it?
Well, let me ask you this question: who's the best-selling rapper of all time?
I don't even know them.
I'll give you a hint. He's not black. He's not black. It is actually a white man named Marshall Mathers, better known as Eminem.
I kind of guessed it would be Eminem.
Yeah, he's the best-selling rapper in history by a large margin.
Actually, I may be wrong on this part too because I'm not as familiar with his stuff as I was, in his beginnings or whatever. But to me, his stuff was not that violent or nasty.
What? Eminem is a guy Eminem's music is more violent and nasty. This is a dude who talks about. That's
probably because I heard him when he was real young,
his first record, he talks about killing his wife and all the horrible things he wants to do to his mother. Stuff I can't even say on WLTH. Eminem's music is more extreme than black rappers' music.
Okay. Let me say this. To me, the parts of his stuff that I heard. And this is I haven't listened to rap music in 10 years. The only time I hear rap music is when I have to hear other people's rap music, and I hear it all the time.
Yeah.
But they were situational, talking about somebody's personal situation, more so that, his family or this or that, and the pressures created from those kinds of things rather than, I got this, how I'm just talking about random shooting and random this and that. A lot of the stuff that I'm hearing blasted across the street is talking about money and talking about guns,
right.
And it's not related to anything a progressive situation.
Right.
People are arguing, they arguing about this, arguing about that. but it's usually based on money or drugs or a woman or this or that, and it's disconnected. There's no thread. To me, when I heard Eminem and some of the old rappers, there was at least a thread of a storyline.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of our modern culture is dumbed down. I definitely agree with you there.
But yeah, I just think that some of the, people have pressure. There was a season in America when us folk, our biggest thing was trying to prove that we're not as bad as they said we were, and trying to make the race proud, and trying to work hard to be better than the next past generation, better than somebody thinks we could be, and better than each generation, and that's not just black. It was everybody at one time was trying to not to be negative against the previous generations, but if your daddy went to fourth grade, then you want to graduate from high school. And then, everybody tried to get better and better. And regardless of the pressures, you tried to find a way beyond it or around it or through it. We want to think everything comes from outside now. And we don't want to develop ourselves to fight whatever the problem is to best it, to conquer it. We see ourselves as weak, and but except that we see ourselves weak, but we'll carry a gun to be strong. Some of the greatest strengths that we can exhibit come from within, and how to best a situation without a weapon, other than our minds and our hard work and effort.
Well, all right.
Even though we might have to work harder than somebody else.
I got another caller. Thank you for your call. Hello, caller.
Scott.
What's up, brother?
Hey. Well, see you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Well, you need to turn down the radio or something. So you got to echo.
Okay. No, we were talking about rap, and you was talking to the lady. See, violent breeds violent, right?
Well, I would say.
When you talk about the rappers, you got more violent. See, you talk about how much records being sold by. It don't matter who buy them.
Okay.
It's destructive, Scott. Ain't nothing good about no rapping.
That's your opinion.
Look at all the violence. You when you speak about Tupac and all that, look at the violence that it breeded, brother. See, you're a young fella. See, and a lot of you all, you think that's what's going on. That's what's got it messed up, brother. You all are our future. Tupac, all this old how brilliant he was, that was stupidity, man. Look how he died, the way he lived. But he's supposed to be so brilliant. That ain't brilliant. Strength is when you know you can beat people down and shoot them down and don't do it. The strength ain't when you do it. Like the lady just spoke about it. I hope you received that. The strength is within. When you know you can do somebody in and don't do it.
You got to bring it down a little bit. You got to bring it down a little bit. With no gun.
Come on, man. See, y'all, that rapping is what just messed y'all up. Tell me he's the greatest rapper.
That
ain't nothing violence, man.
That's
ain't
my
nothing great about that.
That's my opinion. That's, again,
solely my opinion. I know that's your opinion.
Yes.
You're a human being.
Yes,
you're right. Everybody got opinion. Like the lady was saying.
Well,
it comes from choices. It ain't by chance. When God gave us free will, Scott, it ain't by chance, brother. It's by choice. Okay? Choice means decision. And you got to understand wise decision versus unwise decision. Both of them have consequences. So when you're bragging about your opinion, and you talk about the genre of music, rap music is too violent, man. That's why these young boys are killing each other.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you about this. What year do you think Chicago, the city that's right across the street from us, had the most murders they ever had?
Say that again.
What year do you think was the most violent year in Chicago?
You break it up. You say
what year do you think was the most violent year in Chicago?
I think it was in the 90s.
1974.
Okay.
Okay, so what were people listening to in 1974?
Okay, so
what were people listening to in 1974?
Statistically, all the statistics are not accurate. Okay,
no. Let me say this. What year was did Chicago had the least amount of violence?
I don't know exactly what year, but all the statistics are not. You can't just base that on those statistics, Scott.
How come I can't? How come I can't?
Who are they? Now, they lied about Gary being a murder capital. That's a lie. Okay? You going by numbers. Don't you know all this stuff you've been talking about ain't nothing but a bunch of propaganda?
But you believe it when it's negative. But you believe it when people say it's negative.
Look low class.
So you believe it when it's negative. You believe the numbers when they're negative, though, right?
No. I'm not. It's got to be accurate. I ain't going on no negative part. No, I don't deal with negativity. Right. I'm talking about what's positive, brother.
Yes.
See,
so am I.
I play the devil advocate. I don't play no devil advocate.
I go by numbers. I go by facts. I gotta go by facts.
Y'all think about making money, and y'all think about.
No. I go by facts. I think about facts.
I'm not saying all young people.
Facts.
I'm saying majority of you all. You in that millennial? The millennial category?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I got a son 44. See, I'm not just talking to you, brother. I raised a son. I know how this go. Okay? I know how this go. I'm your mom and dad's age. Okay? I'm not.
I feel you.
I know how the game go. I'm not just talking because you hear the intensity and the passion in my voice. I'm bringing some wisdom to you, brother. I know how this go. I grew up in Gary, and I saw the difference now and then. We didn't have all that, like you talking about, when we ride down the street, when you had people like the Black Panthers, they wasn't violent. They was about order, brother, and respect. That's what the young folks don't have, because ain't nobody teaching them respect. I don't really fault them. I fault who teaching them, man. That's what you got to understand. How they being taught. Who teaching them. That's the problem with young folks.
Systems.
It ain't just no system. We can beat this system of racism. If you come up when I came up with Big Mama and Big Papa, and you had respect, you said Mr. and Mrs. You keep it for me. Y'all running out here, many of you talking about, hey, old girl. No, we didn't allow that, brother. That's disrespect.
I feel that, but some of that, like I said, if you look at, like I said, I know you don't believe in facts and numbers or whatever, but if you look at the numbers, the 1970s, the 1980s were the most violent years in modern history. Okay,
but I'm gonna say this, Scott.
More violent than today. Much more violent than today.
But you don't know who coming up with them numbers, Scott. Who are they? See, you gotta be realistic, man.
Those are the official crime statistics. Those are official crime statistics.
Don't that old hypothetical imagination. No, we talk about who are they.
So so let me ask you: do you have any alternative numbers on how many people get killed?
Say that again.
Do you have any alternative numbers? Since you say their numbers are not accurate, do you have more accurate numbers?
No, it's hard to come up with an accurate number, Scott.
All right.
But I'm not gullible. I'm not gullible, brother. I don't want you to be. Okay?
Well, I'm not either. I go by facts. Well, thank you for your call. I got to go to a break because I've been talking for 40 minutes. All right. It's all good, brother. See.
Okay.
All right now.